Hey, and welcome everybody. Woohoo! Last session for the day, and with that, welcome to compliance tracking and reporting using SolarWinds products. So today, IT pros around the world, they face like a broad set of compliance challenges, and in IT, we have to track, monitor, maintain compliance with regulations and standards. Just naming a few, it's like NIST, FISMA, DISA STIG, CMMC, GDPR, depending from where you're from. This can be many, many more. So in our session today, I have Kevin Mealy, well-known advisory sales engineer and rock star, and most of you already know him, and also Ashley Adams, product marketing manager for security with me, and myself, Manja Kuche, also product marketing manager in the security field. And we'd like to really deep dive with you into compliance. And this may sound like a little tiring, but we promise to make this one fun. So keep tuned in. And Kevin and Ashley, with that, over to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Manya. Yeah, definitely glad to be here today. We appreciate everybody for joining. I've actually been basically in IT for probably over 20 years now. Been with SolarWinds for 10, and certainly enjoying the product set that we've basically come out with over the years. So today we're going to talk about security and auditing and how do we handle compliance within the environment. What products can we use? What avenues can we go to maybe help our auditors, maybe to make the auditing process easier? That is certainly something that I know a lot of people talk to us about, and certainly is top of mind these days. I think security is definitely one of the big things that's being brought forth by organizations, and really has become one of the number one priorities. So
yeah,
what I'd like
I just
to
want
do,
to just say a quick hello. Manya and I kind of look after the security portfolio over here at SolarWinds, and like we said, we have our great sales engineer Kevin with us. We're the security sisters. If you haven't seen us on some other THWAC-related topics throughout SolarWinds here. But yeah, we're excited to really dive into the products themselves. So Kevin's going to demo them, and we're going to make this conversational. And please feel free to drop your questions in the chat so we can address those.
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely, we'll definitely try to make this fun. I know security may be a little boring at times, but we'll certainly put some life into it for you. Definitely going to go through a few of our products today. So the three products that we'll be talking about, will be the Access Rights Manager product. Access Rights Manager is one of our newer products. It's been around for a couple of years now. We actually brought it into the organization through an acquisition, and it has been great for us, quite honestly. We've done a lot of work on it and a lot of development work, and updated it and brought in new technology. So I'm actually really excited to show you guys that. It's actually probably one of my favorite products that I work on a regular basis. And then beyond that, we'll go into utilizing our SIM solution. Security Information Event Manager. Basically, the Security Event Manager product is going to, give us more breadth and depth into being able to satisfy those audits, being able to talk to those compliance standards that your organizations are certainly looking at, if not are already, involved in. So we want to make sure that we kind of bring to life and to light what our products can do for you. And to basically round it off, basically there's another product that we have on the Orion platform, and that is a Server Configuration Monitor. And Server Configuration Monitor has been around for a couple of years now as well, and we've really been working hard to bring in a lot of compliance aspects into it. And I'm really actually very excited to show you guys that one too, because that's actually one of the products that I enjoy working in and get into quite often with our customers. So just with 1 second here, I'm going to go ahead and share out my screen, and then we can jump into Access Rights Manager. By all means, ask us questions. As we're going through this session, we definitely want to make it as interactive as possible here. So let me go ahead and share out my screen.
And make sure you ask all your questions, because we have the rest of the security team on the back end, so they can answer while we talk, and everything that you might think about, like ARM or like Security Event Manager, Server Configuration Monitor. We're happy to answer your questions on the run.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I've brought up on my screen here today is the Access Rights Manager web console. There's actually a couple of different consoles to the product, and the web console is where we'll kind of begin. I won't go into every feature, but I will talk to you guys about how this is going to help with compliance. It's really in the name, right? Access Rights Management. So how do we manage who has access to what? One of the things that this product is very good at is looking through, Active Directory. It's going to set up its scan. It's going to go through. We're going to pull back all the members, the users, and we're really going to understand, who has access to what Active Directory groups. And from there, we can make decisions on whether or not people really should have that kind of access. Beyond that, this product supports, Ntfs permission scanning. So looking at file servers, whether it be Windows file servers, NetApp NAS devices, maybe EMC devices, we certainly have the capabilities to go and scan really pretty much any NTFS share that is, working with Active Directory essentially, right? So we want to basically make sure that we're scanning Active Directory. Then we scan our shares, and we can really see all the details around that. So you'll notice up at the top of the screen, we actually have some summary data here, like number of users, number of administrators, number of computers, number of groups that are in the environment. Kind of just gives us a very simple way to kind of just understand a little bit about what we have going on there when it comes to Active Directory. I will say that this product does support other technologies. So a lot of you guys are using Office 365. And one of the things I love about this product is that it will look at the permissions within Exchange Online. It's going to look at SharePoint Online. We're going to look at Teams. We're going to really be able to pull back the details about one, who has access, but we can also pull back logging information too. And that's a big point. A lot of people want to monitor the activity, and that's another part of the compliance aspect. So being able to monitor activity within Office 365, being able to monitor activity within, let's say, Azure AD, being able to monitor the activity on those file servers. That's another aspect where security monitoring comes into play, and how it basically really is going to help you guys to be able to report on all of that, so that you can bring that back to the auditors and say, yes, I absolutely have this capability to show you that, and this satisfies section 123 in this particular audit, right? So definitely one thing that you want to kind of look at when we get into this product. So I'm just going to show you guys around real quick. One of the things that I will look at real quick is the risk assessment. This is something that we'll do as we scan the environment. We'll take some summary information. We'll look at certain areas within the environment to help you understand where maybe you need to make some changes. So that's where the severities come in here. In this case, we've got accounts with never expiring passwords. These may be service accounts, they may not be. We want to look at these. We want to make sure that we are as secure as possible. We want to make sure that only the specified accounts that we expect to have never expiring passwords are set that way. And again, those are usually service accounts. They're not usually any other accounts that are out there. So we can click on this and we can look at a report. We can get into the details on that if we want to. Directories with direct access, some of the things along the lines of cleaning up. We can do things along those lines. Directories basically with changed access, right? So which directories have actually changed. So again, being able to keep track of what's happening in the environment is super, super important. Definitely something that you guys want to make sure that you're doing. So let's do this. Let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and just stop screen sharing real quick, and I'm going to reshare my screen. I'm getting some notifications that perhaps it's not sharing properly, so I'm just going to fix that real quick. Hopefully this is looking okay now. As we're looking at
way better now.
Excellent. Apologies for that. So basically, as we're looking at this, we can go into these, right? So I'll go into the users with never expiring passwords reports. So this is one of the ways in which we can run reports within the web console. One thing I like about this is that we can manipulate the data, we can add columns, we can change the sorts. It just makes it so easy to basically manipulate the information within the console. And essentially here, let me go ahead and just rerun this
This is
thing.
the now when you're showing effect.
Of course. This is sometimes those things that happen during our live presentations here. And I'm going to punt on this just for a second, and I'm going to just kind of switch into a couple other things that I'm going to show you guys here. So when we're looking at who has access, right? One of the things that we want to look at is potentially where people have access within the environment. So let me go over into one of these reports. So I'm going to look at a file server, just so you guys can see how well this works when it comes to auditing the environment. So if I go in and want to look at maybe the organization share, maybe I want to look at, let's say, marketing, I'll do that one instead. We'll go look at that. And let's say that I want to see all the groups. I want to see all the users in the groups, and I want to see everybody that has the permissions within all the folders. Then I can come in here and literally I can pick and choose what it is I'm going to look at. So we'll hit that marketing and then I'm going to run this. So this is basically going to generate a PDF. By the way, you can schedule these reports so that you can send them to the appropriate parties. So maybe the data owners in this case. Maybe you want to send these on a regular basis, maybe on a quarterly basis for them to review things. We also have a process in the product called recertification. Recertification is actually a way in which you could kind of avoid having to send reports where you notify your customers or your data owners. Let's say the HR manager needs to certify who has access to their folder. You can literally have that happen where they get a notification and they'll be emailed about it, and then they can log into the web console and actually do the recertification that way, right? So I'll go ahead and just show this to you guys. But basically the way in which this works is that we have the folder, we have the permissions up on the upper right. So full control, modify, list folder, read and execute. This comes into play where we can look at basically individual users that have access. And this kind of comes down to best practices. So not only are we able to audit what's here, but we can also just see whether or not we're following best practices in the environment. So these guys probably shouldn't have individual access to a folder, right? They probably should be in an Active Directory group. And this is one way for us to point it out to you. We do have those summary reports that say, hey, we have these exact number of directories that have these individual entries. And those individual entries can be reported on as we're seeing here, and we can remove those and remediate with the product too. So I think that's an important thing to remember, is that the word manager in the name of the product is truly that. This product not only lets you audit, monitor, but it also lets you manage and make changes to your environments. And it's nice to be able to have the ability to basically lock down who can make these types of changes within the application too. So that's something else that you can also do with this. It has a very granular role-based access control. And a lot of customers want to be able to give people access to do certain tasks on certain folders. And we can actually do that with this product. That gives us that capability to do so. And this is just one aspect
And I think
of being
Kevin,
able to report.
I think Kevin, just one note on that is, we think about security so much in terms of data breaches from the outside, but this really speaks to the human element, because how many times have you guys seen a very well-meaning employee trying to get access to things or just stumbling across folders that they shouldn't have had access to? And this helps you just mitigate those risks from the inside as well as any outsider threats.
Absolutely. And this dashboard here that I brought up as well, this gives us some insight as to where we can make some of those changes, just as the web console did as well. This shows us where everyone has access and things like that. And again, we want to be able to lock those things down. We want to be able to make the changes through the product to be able to see this information. One other thing I will point out before we move on to our next product is the way in which we can present the group membership data. The graphical representation is something that I find highly useful. it just makes it really easy for me to see the relationships between the members of the groups and the groups themselves. And it shows me where we have additional parents as well here. So if I needed to make a change to domain admins, I could easily right click on this. Through the web console, there's also an action menu that we can utilize. So there's different ways in which we can manage and utilize this product to basically maintain that compliance that we want to be able to maintain within the environment. So absolutely one of these products that I'm a big proponent of. I'm a big fan of as well. I'll just show you the start screen real quick so you guys can see a couple other things, and then we'll get into the other security products that we're going to show you today. But there's some alerting in here. We can alert on some file system events. We can alert on some Active Directory events. And then again, we can also monitor who's doing what on the file servers to be able to give you an audit trail should something happen. One of the things we talk about a lot are breaches, internal breaches, people doing things that maybe they're not supposed to be doing. And this is something that can show you, like someone moved a folder, deleted a file, whatever it might be. We can show you those types of things through Access Rights Manager as well.
Yeah, and Kevin, that was an awesome bridge, because when you mentioned all those alerts and picking up on that, so for every single compliance requirement that I have taken an eye on, you have to really be sure who has access to what. That's one like fundamental element that you have to cover. But more often, compliance requirements are asking you for logging and like screening all events happening in your system. And for Access Rights Manager, you can take those alerts and events and hand them over to your CM. And in this case, probably it's a Security Event Manager. But also, if you already have a CM in place, you can forward that to them. But with that, just I get you over to Security Event Manager.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that is one thing that we can do, is we can forward the events from Access Rights Manager into Security Event Manager. So we can take some of that log information and actually forward it over via syslog. So Security Event Manager, for those who have not seen this product, this is a hardened Linux virtual appliance. ARM, it works on a Windows server. You just install it on a Windows server, but this actually comes as a security appliance. You download the virtual machine, you get it installed, you connect it to your network, and then connect it up to your different network devices, via syslog typically, and then also your servers and or workstations. So being able to watch your endpoints, maybe from a USB protection perspective, we can utilize this product to stop people from taking information outside the company, meaning we can block those USB sticks from being used. We can also do a lot of other things. This is a full-blown security information and event management product. This dashboard is one way in which we can keep an eye on the events that are happening within our environment. So kind of being able to see who's got failed logins, who's logging in where, maybe what firewall events are potentially happening. These are a lot of times where people are trying to kind of breach the environment or hit and get into the environment. We can also look at the connectors. A connector is more or less a log parser, or the technology that we're collecting the data for. So when we're looking at this, we can see the Windows security events, maybe a PIX firewall event. We've got Snort IDS information coming in. This product can ingest a lot of data. Right? And the idea is that it is going to, one, normalize that data so we can see it very similarly when we're looking at all of our events. We're going to populate similar fields. It's going to look very, very similar no matter what we're doing. It's very human readable. Beyond that, we are going to correlate those events with the rules engine. So it's wonderful that we get all these events in and that we can see them all, but that may be like drinking through a fire hose. Right? We don't necessarily want to do that. We want to be able to narrow down our field of vision. We want to be able to see, certain things. We want to be notified of certain events that are really important to us. Not only just search on those things, but we want to be able to be notified, let's say through an email, or take an action. Active response is another aspect of the Security Event Manager product. So when we're looking at this, yes, we have the dashboard, but this dashboard's actually built on the filters that are here, right? So we have different filters. We have different types of filters that are built out, whether they be for network threats or network traffic events, maybe IDS events, like we were talking about a little bit. We also have IT operation type events, like system events, service events, software installation events. These are things that, from a compliance perspective, you may need to capture. Right, kind of going back to the whole aspect of I need to make sure that I am covering, my bases when someone comes in and does an audit. We want to make sure that we are capturing the correct events in the event that someone does come back to us and says, "Hey, we need to see, what happened in the environment from this date to this date." And what we can actually do with this, one is I can certainly do, take this out of live mode, and I could do any type of search on this. I need to look at things from a historical perspective, then I can also do that too. There's an Analyze Historical Data button here. This allows us to do more refined searches. You're going to see the data here. And I could build out a search pretty quickly here, where I could take my event types, drag and drop those in, and say, what, I need to see my web traffic events. Show me those. Do a quick search, and it's going to do a filter. I could also have some conditional things like ands and ors in here, and then I could export the data so that I could get a report out of it. There are also reports that you can use with the reporting application that are specific to compliance methodologies, whether they be NIST, SOX, PCI, right? We have specific reports that take these types of events in as categories, and then they filter them in so that you can basically present them to whoever needs to see them. And one of those reports that I'll show you here is that within, I've got some example audit reports here. So you can see just what a report might look like. We've got our events, we have our severity, we have the type of alert that's happened, we have the event information, and then just our event ID, which is this provider SID here. But this is just an example of what those reports look like coming out of the Security Event Manager product. One other highlight that I will show you with this product is that there is the rules engine that we just mentioned earlier. If I want to have things that hold to certain compliance standards and I want to be alerted, or I want to take an action based upon whatever the compliance standard might be, we have a number of rules that are built in. And we have rules that are tagged around certain operations, right? We have things that are tagged around certain compliance standards. In this case, this has NERC SIP on it, right? So if I want to basically, add these rules in based upon certain things that we've identified, you could literally filter on those and then apply the rule to the environment so it's watching for certain activity. And this is actually a really great way to go through and hit the ground running with this product. This product is actually very easy to use. Again, you set it up, get the data coming in through syslog or the agents that you install, and then you just apply the rules for things that you want to be notified on.
Yeah, this is really as
that's kind of a
easy as
good
it gets.
overview of that one. Yeah. Go ahead, Manya.
No, you go. I'm just intervening here. Just wanted to make a statement, this is that easy that I can even handle it. So now I don't have that much of a technical background. So for all of you guys, compliance just got a little less scary. This is really easy to use, drag and drop. You can edit everything that you see in there. For those guys that are visual, it's color coded. So, you can always go back to that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and just like Amanya said, this can be used by anybody from network system admins. It doesn't require that high-level security knowledge, so you can still get what you need in your organization to feel secure and make sure that your environment is protected without having to spend a lot of extra time and bandwidth in both setting it up and running it on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people want to set it and forget it. And I think that's something you can absolutely do with any of these products when it comes to, kind of doing the monitoring aspect. Configure it, set it up the way you want it. Certainly, you're going to maintain it. You're going to add certain things in over time. You're going to modify certain things over time. But in general, you get it set up, and then basically it's going to alert you when certain things are happening. And it's going to give you the ability to store that data historically so you can go back and and report on it for compliance reasons, right? Or any other reason for that matter. Obviously, if you want to do an internal audit, you can do those types of things as well. And with just a few more minutes left here, we're going to talk about the server configuration monitor. And I'm just going to point out just a few highlights. This product does run on the Orion platform, as you can see. So it's really just in the fold here. It's in the My Dashboards. And one thing that I'll point out is basically the compliance page. This product allows you to monitor files, changes in files, and look and compare those changes that have happened within the different files that are out there. So basically, different more or less text-based files. You can also run scripts to generate output and then compare the output. There are a number of profiles that we've built in as well, so you can basically generate baselines for your environment too. The one thing that I'm pointing out here is the overall compliance summary. We're starting to build policies for certain compliance standards, right? STIG is one of those, as you can see here. And what this has is it has a set of rules. So we can basically, in this case, we're evaluating 17 different rules. And we've got one rule that's basically not passing as far as what we're looking at when it comes to that particular standard. So when I click on the policies, I'll be able to see the list of those policies here, right? And it's going to basically show me what I have in place and basically what's failing in the environment. So when we look at that failed rules, must produce log records containing sufficient information. And when I click on that, now I have a detailed description of this, right? So anybody that's having to hold to the STIG compliance standards, this is going to absolutely 100% start to help you understand where maybe you need to make some changes in your environment. It's going to tell you what nodes those problems are on, and you can literally go and go fix them. Now, this product's not going to fix it for you, but it will notify you that you have that problem and allow you to report on it so that you can go basically take care of it and make sure you are in compliance with those different standards that are basically put forth by the different organizations out there. So it's really important to start to utilize a product like this when you want to look at your servers, right? This is what this is for. This is all about looking at your basically your Windows and Linux servers, essentially. So you put an agent on those devices, and then you configure these different policies to watch these different rules, essentially, so that you can see exactly what's going on there. And with that, we'll go ahead and just kind of wrap it up. We definitely appreciate your time today.
Absolutely.
So with that, thank you guys all for joining on this really informative session on security and compliance. Again, we just want you guys to throw your attention over to the poll if you can give us a last answer for us. And essentially, that is going to be it for all the sessions today. Thank you so much for all of your engagement and participation, and we really look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, take care, everyone. See you soon. See you tomorrow. Make sure you join the sessions tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.